So I'll start off. My name is Hannah Cree. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm calling in from Treaty 6 in Edmonton, Alberta, currently. And I am a SheEO venture in Canada called Common Good. And well, I say we did because our model is changing through COVID. We were employing people that were facing incredible trauma caused by homelessness and poverty, and we did it through a laundry service. And this laundry service was tailored to the restaurants. So the first week of COVID, when the restaurants shut down, Common Good shut down. And it was the most, I can't even explain, as an entrepreneur, to watch your business literally just go down without being able to do anything. It's a pandemic. And everything was out of our control. And this community, SheEO, we're talking all the ventures were on calls, the activators, gifted money, anything to keep us all going and operating was amazing. And I've been able to rethink our model and think about what we're going to do in those next steps. So Sheena, why don't you introduce yourself and your amazing company?
Absolutely. You guys can hear me okay? Awesome. Hi, everybody. I'm Sheena from Made with Local, and I am based here in the unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people, otherwise known as the East Coast of Canada. We're based in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, and we create really simple, nourishing snack foods that have social impact baked in. And what that means is that we're sourcing all of these beautiful ingredients from all across Canada, bringing those ingredients to social enterprise bakeries and creating a line of snacks, real food bars, and now we're in the baking mix space, making these really lovely, nourishing, family-friendly foods that have this deep social impact underneath them. So that's me.
So delicious. You're making me hungry.
Yes.
So, and Candace, you are some of our newest ventures that have come on. So tell us where you're calling from another part of the world.
Thank you. Kia ora koutou. It's 6 a.m. in the morning. I'm calling from New Zealand, Aotearoa. I'm an Indigenous Māori founder and CEO of Jobloads. We believe there's dignity in every job and people can find mana at work. And so for us, mana at work is about respecting the human rights of every worker in the supply chain and doing what's tika or right and in the best interests of workers. And we're building a digital labour supply solution to help us make that happen. So that's us.
So let's jump right in here, because I think through COVID, a lot of things have happened for me. When I started Common Good, I started because I went through the flood and I saw a whole bunch of disparity happen in an emergency where me being a white person, middle class, had offers of food, cash, housing, everything when we went through the flood. But the homeless shelter that was down the block, everyone was fighting about where to put people. And they didn't want them in their neighborhood, in their backyard. And I saw this extreme, just happen, this pull apart. And we're seeing it now in COVID, but on a worldwide scale. Women are out of the workforce. Like, we all know the stats. We know how many barriers. We work in that. And we're just seeing this happen again and again, that when we are in emergencies, the people that need it the most still are not getting the help, right? And so for us, we had an issue for COVID, which was, I can't put people who are homeless on the front lines. Like, even as a value, it was a really part of I can't put you on the front lines. And when we can't be doing this way and really having to rethink the model. So Sheena, for you, what are you seeing as some of the barriers, even through COVID, when we're employing people that are at the margins?
Yeah, absolutely. So I will speak to the model of Made with Local being slightly different than a Common Good. We are a CPG company, essentially, a food brand that has co-packing relationships with bakeries that help to train and employ folks who have barriers to the mainstream workforce. And something that we've seen our partners go through throughout the course of all this, number one being our facility here in Nova Scotia, our bakery here in Nova Scotia that we partner with, because they're a social enterprise first and a food production facility second, they were mandated to close by the province of Nova Scotia in the middle of March. And immediately, they were out of work, just like millions and millions of Canadians. But losing losing a job at one of the organizations, like the one that you founded, Hannah, and like the one that I partner with, it's not just losing a job, it's losing the person, the support workers who are helping you with manage your finances. It's losing that camaraderie that you might not be getting at home or in any other way. Like, it's all of those things that the average Canadian was experiencing, loneliness, isolation, is compounded 100-fold when you're somebody who's living with a disability or a barrier to the mainstream workforce. And that, for me, like that's what kept me up at night through trying to figure out how we can safely get the work back into the hands of our partners, and when they felt ready enough to bring their participants back into the programs. And but one thing I've seen as being something that, again, the pivot that's happened is our partners have been focusing a lot on, okay, what are those distance learning resources that we can provide to our participants when they are at home, when they're home alone? Buying iPads. Now they have 100 iPads that they had to purchase to support their participants who aren't able to come in and be connected to their peers. So just things like that, we've just seen it change so drastically.
Yeah, the drastic change, and also the resources and the support that has to go in, mental health, all of these pieces, there's already anxiety and all of that. And now we have COVID. Like, where do I live? What do I do? How does this affect us? In Calgary, if they're living at the homeless shelter, they are pretty much locked in. And so how do we go from that? Candace, what are you seeing? And you're living, I always joke that, New Zealand and Australia live in the future, because you're a day ahead of us typically. And especially what we saw in New Zealand on the lockdown, and all of those pieces. Has this changed your operations or the way that you need to be doing business?
Yeah, it really has. So the industries that I'm currently focused on are agriculture, horticulture workers. Right, and so these industries have historically depended on migrant labour or transitory labour. Typically, we've had to bring in migrant workers to do a lot of the jobs that we have. And obviously, in a post-COVID world, with limited migration, and border restrictions, we've as an industry, we've been impacted. So I'm a grower as well. I have my own orchard, and so. There's definitely been a pendulum shift. I actually had thought that I would see, real challenge for the workforce. So I thought that, people are going to find it more difficult to get jobs. However, we're right, as an industry globally, we're in the middle of a labour shortage because of all these, because of the dependence that the industry has had on our migrant workforce. And so that's actually seen a positive swing in terms of the wages lifting. So I've seen it in my own business. Growers are paying 10%, or food producers are paying 10% more to their workforce. And they're needing to lift the conditions of, and this is what I've been saying all along, you just need to treat people right and do what's right, throughout the supply chain. And I'm seeing it. They're actually having to compete around the conditions on their site. What are they offering to workers? Why would I come and work for you when grower down the road treats me better? It's actually been transformational. I'm starting to see the shift towards, treating people better and handling them with total care, which was what we were always about. However, it took COVID to come along to really shake the industry into place. And I've seen it happen in New Zealand and other countries. You can see global shortages, and something has to change, and it's starting to change.
Yeah, it reminds me, I've been saying this for years, but now in COVID, I'm just like I can see it, is that, we have the word social enterprise, right? That we have to go and put social in front of the word enterprise because we're not doing business with people and planet already in mind. And I was like, I cannot wait for the day when we don't need the word social enterprise, because this is how we do business. People, profit, planet, it's baked in. We don't need to have these unicorns. We all know that that model doesn't work. 1% of companies only actually need VC money, yet we talk about venture capital all the time like that's the way to go. And it's like our businesses are built in community. We hire our neighbors, our friends. We are, we are part of the planet. Like, and what that takes is, this is where I get riled, obviously, is what this takes is 51% of women. We have 80% of the buying power, and we are about to inherit the largest wealth transfer in the history of the world. We can absolutely shift the way that we're doing business and have a global effect. And so, and I love, Candace, that you're talking about the opportunities, right? What are the opportunities here? And Sheena, you through COVID, like every time I'd watch your Instagram stories, I'm like basically crying because you're just like, okay, what do we do now? Because I remember at the beginning, it's like, it's all shut down. I'm shut down. Your production is shut down. And so what are some opportunities that came up for you?
Oh, I can't wait to tell you. It is actually crazy to me that I'm sitting here talking to you about this almost exactly a year from when I got on that SheEO Venture call to be like, oh my God, you guys, my production partners, my social enterprise bakery is shut down indefinitely. We have no idea how we're ever going to get my business back up and running, especially in a way that is aligned with the values that we've had so deeply for so long. So we are like, well, the news is out here first with SheEO. We have just launched a second social enterprise bakery partnership, this time with an incredible organization in Ontario called Out of the Box Packaging. Our Nova Scotia facility is back up and running at full tilt. They're running at actually a higher capacity than they ever have to help us keep up with demand. And we've launched a second social enterprise partnership in Toronto. And now we're employing and training even more folks on the ground there in North York and pulling local ingredients from around North York into that facility and producing a product in that part of the country that's truly made with local there. And I'll also let all of you know, super, super inside scoop, in partnership with this social enterprise, we've been able to just about execute on our very first Costco Canada launch. So we're going to be launching our granola bar mix with Costco Canada in Ontario, Quebec, and Atlantic in just a couple of weeks. So you guys are the only ones to know, but that's been the journey, has been nurturing these partnerships, making sure that everybody, when it felt safe to do so, got back up and running, and then knowing that I desperately wanted to double down on this model to keep up with the growth my company was experiencing. So we've been able to partner with this incredible organization that has a super high velocity and high output manufacturing facility, but also happens to have work and training programs for folks experiencing barriers, again, baked right into their programming. So it's just been, we're having our cake and eating it too. And it's big. Yeah.
Can you imagine that? Like really, exactly a year ago, we were all on a call crying. Like I was on the call going, how do I lay people off that are faced with poverty? Like, how does this all go down? And then just how it's happened where you've expanded your product line, you've expanded into stores. Like this is so unheard of during COVID. And it also, I really want to say that a lot of entrepreneurs, when they're doing okay during COVID, tend not to talk about it because it's like other people have gone down. But we need ventures like yours and Candace to be like, oh, this is where we need to go. This is the future. Like this is what we need to keep on doubling down on. Like you didn't move out of it. You doubled down on the employment structure. Like, oh, so amazing. Candace, how about you? What are the kind of opportunities or the great things that you're kind of seeing in your industry?
Yeah, so for us, like Sheena, we've seen huge growth really quickly, and that's because there is a labour shortage, and so we have a tangible workforce that we've been onboarding really quickly since we launched our platform late January. So it hasn't been that long when we actually put it out into the market in New Zealand, and we had a target, I think, to get 1 million hours of work for our workers on the platform. We're like 65% of the way to the target now. And that was done really quickly. I thought it would take us 3 months. It didn't take us 3 months. And, for us, that means more people into jobs, but jobs that have better work conditions, because that's what we're all about, enabling better work conditions when people are working out on these sites, So it's been huge. And yeah, I agree. We need to celebrate, and talk about our successes. We don't shine enough. And particularly in my culture, my Māori culture, there's this word whakama, and we get a bit embarrassed to share and shine. And I think that's, and we've got to get past that. And that's a cultural thing that I need to get past as well. But I think a lot of us are a bit like that, And so, when you're doing well, we should let everyone know we're doing well. And, particularly for women founders, we need to see it. I don't see enough of us out there celebrating, unless we join really cool communities like this, and that's why I'm here. And on the flip side, that's why I'm building up my JobStar worker community, because that's why I want them to join us too, to find their crowd that are like them, that are looking for the same things.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There's a question here that I will amplify here that Julie asked, which was, how might knowledge-based companies support Shift Pivot to contribute positively to this challenge? Which, when we were talking about it, is like, I see it that there is a huge, gap in the knowledge and training that I need to be able to provide our employees. And, a lot of it is also cost. If we look at our models, it's one thing to have a business, but then it's another thing to provide the right wages, education, savings, good health care. Like, all of that is really at a cost here. Have you, in your models, have you seen that kind of piece about, knowledge-based kind of companies and how they could come alongside us and help us more?
I'd love to put a little shout out here to Magnus Mode, another SheEO venture founded by an amazing SheEO entrepreneur. And she has created an app that's specifically for folks on the autism spectrum, so that they can navigate daily tasks really easily by referring to this app on their phone to say, okay, this is how, these are all the steps I have to take to get on public transit. These are all the steps that I have to take to purchase something using my debit card. These are all the steps. So it's literally kind of like a how-to manual on an app on your phone that is built by her, because her brother, I believe, is on the autism spectrum. She developed this incredible resource for that community. And I just want to kind of shout out to that SheEO sister for that amazing product. But yeah, I would say things in that vein, right? Like you mentioned, Hannah, opportunities to be able to support folks who are needing more than just the paycheck they need. I'll give you an example too. A part of one of the things that our production manager at our social enterprise bakery here in Nova Scotia flipped into doing when she wasn't making bars because of the bakery shutdown was helping the participants of the program understand how to use their CERB money, and that they had to set half of it aside for taxes, and that they had to now she flipped into being a financial support person for them, and understanding how to navigate this. Even though they weren't working at the bakery, they have these new challenges, and they're still part of that organization. So I just wanted to shine a light on that. There's so much more under the hood than just providing work.
Yeah, providing work. What we found, and I'm dealing in it, like, for the homelessness piece, for us, what we even discovered was, even a part of our give back right now is to go into the shelters and actually provide coaching. Like, trauma-informed care and trauma-informed work is really, really important in my industry. And really, we can talk about, this is kind of one of the reports I read, was that, the opposite to addiction is not sobriety. The opposite to addiction is community, is connection. And so for us, it became a focus of, how do we actually build community? How do we build people around? Because when they're on the margins, it means just that. They are completely disconnected. They're told every day on the streets how worthless they are. The trauma that happens just by being homeless is a whole other piece. And so for us, we were like, actually, we need web-based apps. Like they can't be on the phone. Like I had one employee that was on the streets for 10 years, had never touched an iPhone or like, the things that we take for granted and think it's just very easy and accessible. It's not for people that are on the margins. And so that's one of the pieces that we got really focused on too. And in a lot of times just showing up and listening, to be quite honest, through this was like, I emotionally was also, it's been a lot, but just to show up and listen to one another. And there's something beautiful that's also happened during COVID. We have gone through a global experience that I can hop on a call with anyone across the world and we pretty much have something to talk about, even if it's COVID, but we have something that connects us. And that I think has been a game changer in how we talk about employing people and in community. So we have a couple minutes left. I know that there might be some questions that are happening, but Candace, how can people engage, chat with you, learn more about your model so that we can have it in more places around the world?
Yes, so come and check us out. We're at our website, jobloads.co.nz, and also look, we're on LinkedIn. We're starting to build our community on TikTok. I know not a lot of us are there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just like that's where our.
Are you doing dances? Are you dancing?
I haven't started dancing yet, but I need to. And Instagram and Facebook, so please come check us out. And look, yeah, I'm really happy to have met everyone here today. It's so cool to see the work that we're all doing to try and employ people at the margins. And just my last takeout was more around, just to talk of what you both you ladies said, what we're doing to try and remove the barriers to get people into employment. Huge. So thank you.
And Sheena, Made with Local.
Yeah.
Eat all your bars.
Please go find them in your local grocery store. We're in 1,400 stores all across Canada now. Loblaws, Sobeys, Save-On Foods, Safeway, Superstore, you name it. We're there. So you can find our real food bars there and our granola bar mix at select retailers. And the Costco launch for us is happening late March, early April. So if you are a Costco shopper, you can find a big bag of our granola bar mix hitting shelves in Ontario, Quebec, and Atlantic in the next little while. So keep an eye out for us there. And of course, we're also on social media. Our TikTok game is pretty weak, but we are there. Happiest on Instagram. You can find us on Instagram. And madewithlocal.ca.
That's amazing. So amazing. You can check out mine. There is a quick question that I am going to answer here in the 40 seconds is, what are your thoughts about the simple needs of housing, childcare, family supports? Is there opportunity and need for women to be more engaged in housing and service sectors? I'm going to have just a really blanket response in Canada. Yes. We need universal basic income and we need housing for everyone. And that absolutely can happen because we have enough money. We've already been shown that. We print money like no one's business. It's just how it's being distributed. We have not put the value where the value needs to be. And so how to do that is those are the things we need to address exactly what we're working on. If you address this, we can employ people, no problem. Thank you. You two are beautiful, always so inspiring for me to see what you're working on and what you're doing. And
thanks, Candace.
We'll see everyone soon. See you on the main stage. Enjoy.
You always make me want to flip a table, Hannah.
I know. It's all because of you.